Well, greetings, gnomes and nomads. Welcome back at long last to Castlegoat. It is the 9th day of winter, year 7. We are very, very close to the end of year 7. And once we tick over into year 8, the episode that does that, I will include a save file of the kingdom as it stands for those who have requested it so that they can play along if they choose. And as you can see, as you can no doubt imagine, the bugs with the mushroom farms have been resolved. So now it is safe for us to, at long last, continue playing. I have played for about 30 minutes off camera since the patch came out that fixed that bug. It wasn't a very extensive patch in terms of new features. Robobob did explain that he's going to be out of town for a little while. I believe he's going to E3 perhaps, and that although he's been working quite heavily on an update to the golems and how they spawn, he didn't want to push that update through when he was going to be out of touch with everyone for a few days, so he wouldn't be able to fix any particularly nasty bugs that crept in, which is more or less what happened with the tea farms, I suppose. But he's also corrected a bug with mants. Apparently mants were extremely timid. I hadn't played since the last patch came through, which was about 2 weeks ago. But apparently mants became extremely timid and would run away from gnomes. So mants were basically a non-problem. I had seen a couple of posts on the forum expressing concern about how easy the game had become, since it is so easy. I'm not even trying at this point. My mantlers are just that low at the moment. In fact, they're kind of dropping, which I'm a little bit concerned about. Now, you may notice that the game is still a little bit chuggy. It has these few seconds of freezing every now and then. This is a problem that Dwarf Fortress suffers with once you've got a mature fort, but it's not one that Gnomoria tends to have too much of a problem with. But I've been looking on the forums to see if there are any particular tips or tricks for trying to resolve that, and one of the biggest things that people say is simply to try and cut down on the amount of loose items about the fort. Now, that happens to be pretty useful. Oh my lord, that was pretty bad there. But as you can see, we've got a huge amount of loose items around the fort, and that it is going to be quite useful for us to get that all sorted out, simply because that's how golems are going to spawn in the future. Once Robobob has come back from E3, he will be pushing forward with the golem update, and from that point on, any non-stored items, so any loose items on the floor. Now bear in mind that an item isn't stored in a stockpile simply because it's on a tile that happens to be a part of the stockpile. It has to specifically be stored there by a gnome as part of that stockpile for it to be considered stored. Any loose items just about the fort on the floor can come together to create a golem. I'm not sure exactly what the ooh, where are you off to? Exactly. Oh dear. Did a bear die? I suspect one may have, if you're coming out there with the wheelbarrow. No? Yes? Oh. I have no idea what just went on, but okay. But as I was saying, loose items can come together to make a golem. I don't know exactly what the mechanics of that are going to be, how many loose items need to be within a certain area, but it is. He has said it will not be governed by darkness, so I assume this would be possible just in the middle of your fort. If you happen to have a particularly messy fort, you could end up with a golem spawning in the middle of it. Now, I don't know how aggressive that's going to be. Again, I'm not sure how many items would be required, so perhaps excavating a new area for your dormitory isn't going to spawn it because there would not be enough dirt on the ground, but, you know, carving out an enormous great hall all in one go without clearing anything up off the floor may spawn some columns. I'm not really sure on how many it might spawn. But that should be fun, I imagine. Fun, the Dwarf Fortress kind of fun. Now, we are almost to the point where we can start furnishing these rooms back here, and I'll also point out the area that I have tiled already for the mechanics workshops to be moved in. No, we need to continue going up. Here we are. Now, do I have the requisite materials? I would like to make a tinker's bench. We do not have a workbench yet. That is a shame. We do, however, have... Do I have the applewood chair? Yes, I do. And a wrench. That's fantastic. Do we have the workbench yet? Well, we need to make a workbench then. Let's make this out of orange wood, I think. There we go. Hopefully that'll be made soon. I've also gone ahead and built 5 buckets and 5 sacks. Now, from what I understand, I haven't seen any buckets. Oh, there's one actually. A birch bucket. Birch bucket, used to haul liquids. I imagine if we can find any wheelbarrows that aren't being hauled around. Applewood wheelbarrow, used to haul various items. And finally, where are the sacks? This should be... Here we are. And a sack. A finely crafted wool sack used to haul various items. Now, the bucket specifically mentions liquids, but from what I understand, the buckets are to barrels what wheelbarrows are to crates, and what sacks are to bags. That is, if an item would be traditionally stored in a bag, then you'd need a sack to gather many of them and then haul them to the bag that you want to store them in. So, for example, while picking up seeds, a gnome will probably go off, grab a sack, go and pick up loads of seeds at a time. I think they can hold about 16, and then take them all to the sack, rather than moving one seed at a time, which is agonizingly slow. Likewise, buckets will allow them to pick up several stacks of wine or milk, and the wheelbarrow obviously already does that for anything that can be stored in a crate. Now then, we are keeping the population of our yaks and our alpacas fairly low at the moment, and I heard... Okay, never mind, I thought I heard a mant or a goblin going over a blade trap, and that is actually another thing I should mention. I have moved around the traps a little bit, and I'll explain what prompted me to do this. Since the update came through, traditionally mounts would be stopped at the doors for a little bit of time. Goblins would as well, or at least the raiders would, but typically once the soldiers and the two-headed ogres reached the group, they would basically just walk through the doors. They would only really slow down once one of the raiders got wounded, and then they'd kind of keep pace with the slowest of the raiders. But every time they reached a door, the door would just fall over under the combined might of the soldiers and the two-headed ogre. But what I noticed is, since this patch, or it might have been the one before, doors have been changed, or specifically items made of various materials now have a different sort of durability. I believe this sort of durability is tracked in a different way, and this is sort of part of laying the tracks for the Golem update. But the result has been that these basalt doors were holding the goblins there for a very long time as they were making their way through. And the other part of that was that the raiders who were bleeding, I mean, we're used to seeing raiders who get their arms and legs lopped off die after, before they actually engage with our soldiers. But because they were being held up at the doors for so long, a large amount of the raiders were dying. Even some of the two-headed ogres were dying. Typically the soldiers, their armor was protecting them perfectly against these bronze traps. But the unarmored foes were dying before they got to the last door. So with that in mind, I tidied up the way we've got the traps and I expanded it a little bit. I've built, I think, an extra 3 or 4 spike traps, and I now have a door right at the very beginning as well, so that before they even get through this door, because a raider might never get through the door, I'm not actually sure about that. They probably would, but it would take them a long time. So generally we'll have the entire invasion force stacked up on this door before they come through, and then spike, blade, wait on the door, spike, blade, and then it'll repeat that pattern all the way through. Hopefully it softens up. The primary things that I want to kill aren't actually the raiders, it's the two-headed ogres, because we are starting to see them showing up in groups of 3 or 4, which is a little bit much for us to deal with, if I'm perfectly honest. They can be quite frightening when there's 4 of them. Now let's get this statue. I think we've still got a brick statue. There we go. Fantastic. And then we will also build the bone wall down here. There we are. You can make that out of whatever bones you want. I don't mind. Alpaca has been born, apparently. Right, we want to just finish off the stone wall behind this. And there we go. That area will be completely sealed off. Fantastic. Now, since getting the sacks, I have noticed that my gnomes have been much more proactive about clearing out the seeds and, in fact, the food that is produced down here, or rather grown. But that surprises me because I was expecting that the wheelbarrow would be used to pick that up. So I'm perhaps it's just that because those who are using the sacks are no longer. It's no longer tying up my workforce, carrying one seed at a time, that eventually there's someone comes along with a wheelbarrow and just cleans all the mushrooms up. But I am starting to notice that the fort is a lot tidier lately. I approve of this change. Alright. But we are continuing to work downwards as well. There are, or should be, some copper down here. Here we are. Right, let's dig this out. We want the copper primarily for bronze, but also for making copper rings, which are a very, very good export. We'll just draw this out there, and then we'll cap it off about there. There we go. Now I'm going to babysit this. As soon as they've dug through there, I need to replace these walls. Otherwise, enemies will be able to spawn off the edge of the map down here, which is not something you want to happen. Not at all. Let me make sure I'm on the right page. Right, we want to speed things up a little bit. I did have it on slow speed for a little while. I believe we are due a goblin invasion very, very soon. We were attacked the last time, or about the 3rd day of winter. And their kingdom is only 3.5 days, 3 days and 9 hours away. The fact that they haven't attacked us since, I'm not sure. Perhaps there's a certain amount of time that has to pass. Like, for example, they send out an attack and then wait for the attack to return. So that's 3 days there, 3 days back. And then they decide, oh, okay, well, they haven't come back in the last 3 days. They must have been defeated. Let's send out a new attack wave. I'm not really sure about that one. Probably worth experimenting. Chop Chop, who is this? You're very, very slow. Calissa Fox. Ah, there we go. Overheard me mentioning that they were slow and decided to prove me wrong, it seems. There we go. Right, once that's done, oh, we've got some more gems. That's fantastic. Gemmed rings are the best thing that we can export at the moment. And let's actually get this place cleaned up a little bit, please. There's clean floor. There we go. Yes, unfortunately, the lag is starting to get a little bit distracting. At least for me, because obviously input lag, but also as I'm moving around, the screen just stuttering a little bit. Ooh, my lord, prepared meal 0? How did that happen? Really? That is not good times. Let me have a quick look. What have we got? We need to know food items. 72 eggs, 4 sausages, 131 mushrooms. And that's it. Okay. I think we are going to have to expand our yak pasture. We need the cheese and we need the meat. So, go ahead and allow up to 7 females. I was probably a little bit too aggressive when I reduced the size of the pastures there, and that is why we are struggling a little bit. But thankfully, the mushrooms will sustain us for a while. It won't be a particularly balanced diet. Eggs and mushrooms. Well, actually, I suppose you could go far worse than eggs and mushrooms for your diet. I mean, it would make a good breakfast, if nothing else. Right, let's get the Tinker's Bench built, though, if we can. Right, we would like the... Where are you? We don't want the basalt chair. Applewood, bronze, and finally, orange wood workbench. Right, we would like this in the middle, please. So if you could get that built up for us, that would be amazing. Right, we're going to need a couple more orange wood workbenches. Let's get 2 more of those. And we would like another 2 applewood chairs. There we go. And as soon as that is set up, then I will move these up there as well. I'll have them just take whatever tools they've already got, rather than make new ones. Let's go ahead and deconstruct these now. Oh, actually, rather than doing that, I'll do that off camera since they've got. Oh well, this one. Oh my goodness! He's actually made one of the flintlock pistols. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's move that up. That is really fantastic. I am impressed. That caught me off guard. Right. Well, we are not very far away then from our commanders being able to be fully equipped with pistols. Just like Agsto is. We'll get the torches in there. I'm actually quite impressed with how smooth everything is working at the moment. We want some granite doors for the bedrooms. And what else do we want? We need granite statues, so 6 granite statues, and then looks like we are going to want, where's the bed frame? Orange wood bed frames. And then just go ahead and make any type of bed. I'm going to need to set up some mattresses to be made. Well, wool bolts will do. Wool string as well. Unfortunately, that's going to be a bit of a pain. Let me move all of these up as well. But we are very close to finally having everyone in the fort with their own room. It's only taken us, what, 7 years? I can only imagine that our gnomes, they're not even going to be happy about it at this point. They're just going to be fairly sullen that it's taken this long. And I can't really blame them if I'm honest with myself on that one. Damn it. Let's get these made as well. That's fantastic. I'm going to be really, really happy once we've done that. The next project in the actual fort, outside of the trap system, will be, as I mentioned, the hospital, which I'll be building around here. We'll have a proper big hospital. It might even just take up all of that room there. And hopefully, it'll be a place where our gnomes can rest and recuperate in luxury. I'm sure that helps. Is there anything else we need to do up here? No, we've all finished all of that. This area is going to be expanded on an ongoing basis to start bringing us up the hill here, and eventually along. We'll probably have some sort of fortification, like a sort of a wall, just going along here with a little outpost, a little tower, and that will link into this huge tower of dirt, and that's where we're going to expand in the future, if it's possible for us. Though those were the plans a very long time ago, and as you may have noticed, we haven't gotten around to them yet. We've got too many things to work on, I fear. How much food have we got? Oh, we're fine. We've still got plenty of food, and we are almost in spring at this point. We're on the 11th day of winter. That is not bad at all. Okay, well, I'm going to let the gnomes continue to fuss about and get things built. I'm going to pause the recording here, and I shall bring you back in a few moments when hopefully we have everything that we need to set up the gnomes with the last few bedrooms. So see you in a few minutes. And welcome back. As you can see, we have some goblins outside. There are quite a lot of them. Oh, there we are. They've moved. That was on single speed, by the way. But it wasn't paused, even though it didn't look like much was happening. We've got 3 two-headed ogres, about 6 soldiers, a fighter, and about 6 goblin raiders as well. And I thought I'd bring you back. I've issued the orders for everyone to station, or at least continue training whilst we're waiting on these guys. But I thought I'd bring you back just to see how long it takes them. Now, bear in mind that we've got two-headed ogres and soldiers in this group, and how long it's taking them to bash their way through a single door. And it's going to take them a very long time here as well. Have any of them lost any arms? No? Let's see. Let's check on these raiders. How are you doing? Good health? Good health. I imagine quite a few of them are going to be in good health for a little while. But we're going to move on to double speed just to see how long it takes us to get through all of this. Hopefully, we will actually have someone to fight. Who's that? That is a gnome merchant. Because the alarm is rung, I shouldn't panic. Wow. Oh, gnome merchant. That's what you get for being so cocky. Oh, the goblins don't want to attack me. We've got a trading deal with them where it's all fine. And then you happen to be standing on the trap when they walked on it. You fool. You deserve that, gnome merchant. For all of the other gnome merchants who just casually walk past our enemies. Ah, dear. We've got one there in good health. What about you? You're quite badly wounded. How about you? Missing an arm, badly wounded, basically. And you? So, 3 of the 4 raiders are currently bleeding out. I don't rate their chances, honestly. One just died by the looks of it. So we're down to 3. Though one of them is still managing to survive. Well done, you. The others now, once they get wounded, and the spike traps really help with this, that I found, because they tend to do have an uncanny knack for doing damage to the feet, as you might imagine, I suppose. But once the raiders are slowed down, their ability to dodge incoming damage just goes straight out the window. But you are seriously putting up a good effort there. You may even get through. Well done. I might not have to preempt you by sending my warriors out to meet you, rather than letting you come to us. If I can, let me just double check. Have any of the 2-headed ogres got bleeding wounds? Good, good. Bleeding from his right leg. Oh, sorry, left leg, was it? Yeah, his left leg. Unfortunately, he hasn't lost an arm. But you're doing fine. What about you? Oh, damn it. I prefer it when the 2-headed ogres have soaked up quite a lot of damage at this point, because it makes them a little bit easier to kill, and they do tend to threaten our armor a little bit more than the soldiers do on the whole. But yeah, I don't suspect that we're going to have too much trouble with these guys, but hopefully it is 22, so I need the rumoured strikers to be stationed there for the rest of the night, unfortunately. But it has been quite a long while now. They've been just slowly ticking away. It'll be... we may even get to sun... No, I doubt we'll get to sunrise before they get through. But as you can see, it takes a phenomenal amount of time for them to get through these doors. Based on the amount of food that we've got, we're down to 284 things that our gnomes can eat. You've seriously wounded your right eye. If that was a bleeding wound, you might actually have died before you got to us, but I doubt that's going to happen now. But that is actually kind of worrying. But at that level, we're not going to have very many mans at all coming through. But I am actually a little bit concerned about that low amount of food there. Yeah, quite concerned. Alright, come on then you. Alright, one of them is down. So we've got 1 2-headed ogre bleeding out, and 1 raider with a seriously injured right eye. Now, if this happens to work, like maybe that injured right eye means it's going to find it a little bit harder to dodge these 2 next traps. It is possible, though I considered it quite unlikely, and that's why I'm not sending my troops out to try and grab their attention. But how are you doing? Oh, wow. Maybe that does actually affect it. Okay. I wasn't certain about that. Well, we'll see. I suspect that they're going to get down here long before we need to react to it. But you know what? For the sake of science, I'm gonna sit back and just let this one play out, however it wants to play out. I do actually really want those worn pieces of steel armor and the 2-headed ogre hide specifically. But we'll let this one. We'll let the fates decide whether we're actually going to get any action on this one. Plus, it'll give the 2-headed ogre a little bit more time to bleed out. Those things are... Oh, really? Wow. And that happened all on those last 2 traps. It took them that long to get through this door that he bled out. I mean, you know, to be fair, he'd lost an arm, but still, that was on the last 2 traps. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. On one hand, it's kind of novel and funny and interesting, but on the other hand, it's sort of, how should I put it? I feel it's at risk of making the game a little bit too easy. In much the same way people were quite concerned about how easily mants could be circumvented, just keeping the amount of prepared meals, food and drink in the fort to a very low level. You could guarantee that a mature fort would not have to worry about mants ever again. I'm not trying to do that at the moment. In fact, I'm getting a little bit concerned that my food and drink stocks are so low. But oh wow, they've all passed out for exhaustion. They'd basically be on alert for about a day. That's how crazy it is. It took the goblins about a day to get through this trap system. If I upgraded all of these to steel traps, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, if I was crazy and had that much resources just to spare, then I would probably be able to kill most of them by the time they were around there, if not by here. But let's actually check on events, just make sure no one's died from being too thirsty or something. No. Okay. So everyone's passing out from exhaustion. I can understand that. But hopefully we'll be able to turn some of these goblins into delicious goblin sandwiches. I am a little bit sad that the two-headed ogres especially got away, but well, it was worth it to see just how... Well, the fact that the eye seemed to have made a drastic difference to its ability to dodge, and that makes sense. But then, games don't always model things the way you might expect. There's a very definite game logic, and it bears no real resemblance to real life logic. But it was interesting just to find that out, but also just to see how long it would take them to break through all of these doors, because that is the first time that the goblins have attacked since I moved the traps and the doors around a little bit to sort of maximize the spike and blade attacking. Previously I'd had, as you probably recall, several blade traps following each other, whereas this now maximizes how much chance something has of getting stabbed in the foot and then viciously eviscerated by my blade traps. And yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with it, though I feel a little bit bad about that gnome merchant. I think this may actually be the first gnome merchant that we turn into food, maybe? I'm not sure, actually. It might not. Robobob may have changed that. The gnomes may not be cannibals anymore. I'd feel a little bit sad, honestly, if that was the case. It would be like the end of an era. No, apparently there are no corpses. We no longer do we eat the merchants. Wow. I'm not sure how I feel about that either, really. Right, wow, Scalded Land and Musical Tooth at the same time. Fantastic. I've been waiting for a Musical Tooth merchant. We need some more ores, quite desperately, in fact. I've managed to move one of the workshops up here, though I haven't set it up. I should do that right now. Flintlock pistol, there we go. Go ahead and make me one of those, please. I would also like you to be priority 2 and not accept generated jobs. Glorious. Now, where's this merchant? What? Really? The Rainy Gear as well? I mean, the Rainy Gear and the Musical Tooth are my two favorite merchants. My goodness. I'm being rewarded for something. I'm not sure what. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to actually... Well, I might buy clay lumps because we're running a little bit shy on clay. There is quite a lot around. It's just that... Oh, damn it. Musical Tooth, why don't you bring any gold? Only the merchant city-states seem to bring any gold, and they charge ridiculous amounts of money for it. Damn it. Well. We'll take all of that and... Well, I'm going to go ahead and look through what we have to offer. I'm not going to bore you with me doing checking the stocks and balancing things out, but I shall bring you back just so you can see what I've selected to sell. So I shall see you in just a moment. Of course, it would help if I'd actually started recording before I closed the trade window. Well, silly Aavak. We've traded about 500 gnome bucks worth for 8 bars of iron and just shy of 60 coal. a very paltry amount. Nothing really worth bringing you back for, to be perfectly honest, though it was by accident that I didn't. This is effectively the result of me having suspended the construction of bone statuettes. But with these halls now more or less complete, I think I'm going to re-enable that. It certainly helps when we've got statuettes to sell on, but for the longest time now we've been just turning them all into bone walls, and at 2 bone a wall you can't really have an active bone carver, or at least not as active as we make use of it, running at the same time. But that is all now set up. In fact, do we have some more goblin skulls? Yes, we do. Fantastic. We can actually finish this area off. There we go. Oh, that's actually quite nice. But once we've got a little bit more gold, then our money worries should be a thing of the past, as I've got rose gold statuettes set to be made. And they only require 1 bar of rose gold each, and as I've probably mentioned in the past, rose gold is an alloy of gold and copper. You take 3 gold bars, 1 copper bar, and you get 4 rose gold bars. Now, rose gold, in terms of trade, has exactly the same value as gold. There's no difference whatsoever. So it's more or less alchemy. You're turning 1 bar of copper into a bar of, well, gold equivalent metal. So it is actually always worth saving up to do that conversion. At the moment we've only got 2 gold bars. It is always best to buy them in groups of 3, but for some reason I didn't manage to do that at one point, and as a result we've got 2 leftover bars that I'm not really doing anything with, alas. Now, do we have these beds made yet? We actually have 3 of them. Oh, fantastic. We'll wrap this episode up, I think, by giving 3 of our gnomes their own room. Oh, that'll be a great way to wrap things up. Unfortunately, our prepared meals are at 0, and our mantlaws are dropping very, very fast. I'm really not happy about that. But spring is right around the corner. In fact, it is the first day of spring. Hurrah! Of course, the texture hasn't changed because, as I mentioned, that functionality of the Gnomoria Seasons mod has been disabled temporarily until that last part of the patch of the mod has been updated. But we finally have these rooms. In the next video I will switch to the spring texture pack, but for now we'll just wrap things up. Where are we? With personal quarters. There we go. Right, who doesn't have a room? Let's just go through the list and look for something. Elitus does not have a room. You now do. Well done, Elitus. Who else? There's someone else around Elitus. Alex Slayer. There you go. And finally, who is this lucky gnome? Bobble Convolute. There you go. Right, we have 3 more gnomes with personal quarters, and I'm very, very happy about that. We have repelled another goblin attack, though we didn't really do it, our traps did, and we don't have the goblin meat as a result. Alas! Or the goblin, the ogre hide, or the precious worn steel armor. It really doesn't pay to drive them off, but it was worth seeing that happen, I feel. But that is it for now. As you can imagine, having gone through such a long drought as far as Gnomoria is concerned, I'm going to be playing this a fair bit over the next couple of days to get back in the swing of things and drive Castlegoat forward. So I wouldn't be too surprised if you see a lot of this on my channel for the next week or 2. But that is it from me. I do hope you've enjoyed and are glad to have Castlegoat return, and I hope to see you in the next episode. But until then, and as always, do take care.